Hey friend, what's up? In this video, we're going to cover all of the God's Unchained keywords in alphabetical order. There are quite a few, so let's get started. So the first keyword we're going to cover is ability, and it's either going to be a creature or a relic, and whatever it can do is defined within the parameters of its text. So for instance, the inflator ability give +2/+2 to a friendly creature, so it cannot attack. The only thing it can do on its turn is use its ability one time. So next, have Afterlife. And so Afterlife is when a creature dies, effect happens. So Foreign Diplomat, Roar, plus Afterlife, it has both, but we'll put Afterlife. You gain 3 favor, your opponent gains 1 favor. Okay, so the next keyword we're going to cover is Armor. Armor will block however many armor a creature has, will block that much damage coming in per attack. So for instance, Polyhymnia has 4 armor, right? So you have to do 5 damage, right, to clear the armor by 1. So if I do 5 damage to Polyhymnia, it will only take 1 damage because it has 4 armor. It is 9 mana, and it's really hard to get there right now to play it, but armor is extremely strong. Most creatures have 1, but it's still really strong. Anyway, keyword backline, essentially a creature that cannot be attacked by a relic or another creature until all of the other creatures on the board have been removed. So it essentially hides behind your enemy's creatures. The next keyword we're going to cover is Blessed, and Blessed is essentially favor manipulation. You play a creature, right, with the Blessed tag, and it brings up a Delve menu, and you can choose between 3 randomized Blessed effects. And it's essentially gain favor for me, right, take favor from my opponent, like both gain favor, shuffle sanctum. It's really strong, and you can even do damage to your opponent with it, up to 3, which is be pretty helpful to get that reach. The next keyword is Delve. When a creature or a spell is played with the Delve text, it brings up 3 cards, and you can pick. So it's better than random, because if you get a random card, you just get something. Where Delve, you can choose what's best for your specific situation out of the 3 random choices. Right, so next is Echo. Echo is essentially you play creature, and then you get a 1/1 copy of that creature with the same text to play again. So for instance, Academy Apprentice is a 2 mana 2/1. If I play Academy Apprentice, I get the Echo, which is a 1/1, which will also have the +1 spell boost. Or there's also draw cards, there are cards that take away attack, and it's a really strong mechanic. It can be really hard to play around, but it does give you information about what's in your opponent's hand after one's played. So the next keyword is Empowered, and Empowered gives you the option to play a spell or a creature for more mana and make it stronger, right? So for instance, we have Wolfcloak Vanguard. It is a 3/1 for 2 mana, and it's Blitz, really good. Or Empowered 2, so I can spend 4 mana and it gets +2 health, right? So it comes down as a 4 mana 3/3 with Twin Strike and Blitz. Very strong. I think it's a really good effect. Keyword, so Flank. Flank is also very good. Flank allows you to go around the front line, so the key to triggering Flank is you have to attack at least once in the turn, right? So I either have to have a relic and a creature, or 2 creatures on the board, or a creature with Twin Strike, right? And so I can run 1 creature into another creature, and then the creature with Flank can go around the front line, which is a good way to kind of sneak lethal in, or make value trades. It'll even allow you to target a backline creature. So a creature with Flank can go through front lines in a full board and target that really annoying backline creature. So the next keyword is 4C, which is one of the only class-specific keywords that I can think of right now. And it allows you to see the next card coming in your deck. So 4C1, you see 1, and you have the option to keep it or send it to the bottom of your deck. All the way up to, I believe, 4C6, which is a spell. See this next 6 cards that come, send the rest back. Librarian's Prayer. Librarian's 4C6, draw a card for 3 mana. Okay, So next keyword we have Frenzied. Frenzied is essentially a creature or spell or relic. The next keyword we have is Frenzied, and this can be either a creature, spell, relic, and has a bonus effect if you've done damage to the enemy god during your turn. For instance, Necroceptor, right? At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 zombie with Leech. If you are Frenzied, give it +1/+1. So you summon a 2/2, which is so much better than a 1/1. Literally 100% better. Yeah, so if you can do damage to the enemy god's face, Frenzied cards will have a better effect attached to them. So, interesting keyword. Sounds easy to get, but sometimes, depending on what you have in your deck and how much reach you have, if your opponent has board control, it can actually be pretty difficult to trigger Frenzied. So the next is Frontline. Frontline is a creature that you have to deal with first. If you have 3 creatures on the board, and one of them has Frontline, I cannot attack the enemy god or the other 2 creatures until I deal with the creature that has Frontline. I can go around Frontline with spells, I can go around Frontline with Flank, I can go around it with Order or Hidden, but we can talk about that in a bit. But for the most part, Frontline is really annoying. Okay, and next we have God Blitz. So God Blitz is a creature or a relic that has the ability to go directly to the enemy god's face from hand, which is really strong. So Negrios, 9 mana, God Blitz, right? So at turn 9, I can play this 12 damage creature and run it directly into the enemy god's face, which sounds really good, but it's hard to get to 9 mana, so there are better ways of killing enemy god. But relics with God Blitz are really good. Yeah, it sets up sneaky lethal, right? Good. The next keyword we're going to cover is Hidden. Hidden is a creature that when it's played, it cannot be attacked by the enemy god until you attack with it, right? So if I play a hidden creature, right, Trapdoor Assassin, for instance, it's a 2 mana 4/1. It has Hidden and Flank, but hidden, right? The text just says Hidden, so I can leave it there for the entire game, and it cannot be directly attacked until I choose to, where Manila Sparrow has the text word Hidden for 1 turn. So she'll be hidden the turn I play it, my opponent can't attack, and once it comes back to my turn, it loses Hidden. Yeah. So Leech is lifesteal, right? So if my 1/1 zombie attacks the enemy god or another creature, I will heal whatever damage that zombie does. 1. Leech is good. Obliterate. Obliterate can be really, really strong. So Gleamweaver, for instance, is a card from the new set, and there are a lot of Afterlife cards that kind of have void interaction. So there are a lot of Afterlife cards that have void interaction. So if I have creatures dead in my void, I can play a card that will trigger their effects or get some benefit. I can pull them back. And so what Gleamweaver does is she allows me to obliterate 2 cards in the void. So I can obliterate my opponent's cards, and what that means is it removes them from the game. And so if I obliterate something that's on the board, for instance, a Negrios Roar deals 6 damage to each creature, and anything that he kills is destroyed. So if they have Afterlifes, if they have any Afterlife effects, my opponent doesn't get it. I don't get favor for killing them. They are just erased, right? They don't go to the void. They don't technically die. It's a different. It's obliterate, right? So really, really strong. Yeah, really strong keyword. Order. So Order is kind of like Sleep and Hidden mixed together. You can, for instance, Censure is a 1 mana spell. Give +3 Order to enemy creatures. So every turn, Order diminishes by 1, right? So if I use Censure on 2 creatures, right, they'll both have 3 Order. At the end of my turn, they will go down to 2, and it will go back to my turn again. They will have 1 Order, and when it's my opponent's turn, they will lose the Order. There are very few ways, very class specific. I believe Deception is the only class that can remove order. This is a way to get around front lines, a way to make sure they cannot attack you. It is really strong, and there is very, very little counterplay. They can still be reached with spells, or god powers, mage bolt, Orpheo's distraction, his mark, but they can't attack you, and you can attack around them. It can be a good way to get to backline creatures, go around front lines, or just lock down the enemy board and stall. It's really, really strong, and yeah, there's not really a lot of counterplay. So next keyword we have is Overkill. Overkill is essentially any creature that attacks another creature, any damage extra. So say my Archangel Bruiser has 5 attack, I attack a creature with 2 health, the other 3 health left over, right, 5 minus 2, 3, spreads randomly. So if there are no other creatures, it will go directly to the god's face, the enemy god. If there are other creatures on the board, it disperses randomly, but the extra damage is spread out to the rest of the board. Really strong. Can set up sneaky lethal with blitz overkill creatures. But yeah. Next keyword is Protected, and Protected will protect any character from 1 instance of damage. So whether that is 1 damage or it's 30 damage, it is really strong, and it does take time, right? It slows down, it allows for value trades. For instance, Highborn Knight is a 4-mana 3/3 with Protected frontline ward. Super annoying card. If there's a 10 attack, 3 health creature, I can trade my Highborn Knight because it's Protected, kill the 10/3, and it will stay alive. It's really strong. So the next keyword is going to be Refresh. Refresh refers to refreshing mana crystals, right? So you can take a look at Photogenesis, add 4 random nature cards to your hand, refresh 6 mana. So in total, you really only lose 1 mana and you get 4 cards. Pretty strong. There are other cards, Packstock, right? Refresh 1 mana for each creature you control. So it's not meta now, but it's interesting, and I feel like it's a fairly strong keyword. The next keyword is Regen, or for regeneration. Essentially, any damage your character takes on its turn, if it doesn't die, it will heal the amount of regen it has. So, Dionysian Bull, right, has 4 regen, it's a 3/7. So at the end of its turn, it will heal 4, right? If it's taken 2 damage, it will heal to full. If it took 5, it'll heal to 6, right? If it took 5 damage, it'll be at 2 health, then it'll heal 4. And that happens at the end of every single one of your turns, right? So at the end of my opponent's turn, it doesn't heal, but at the end of my turn, it will heal. So the next keyword is Roar, and Roar is essentially an effect that happens when you play a creature or relic. So we have Minosian Infiltrator, target an enemy creature that costs 3 or less, set its health equal to its strength, right? So if your opponent has a Pyramid Warden, which is a 2/6, you play your Minosian Infiltrator, the Roar effect, kind of like an ability that can only trigger when it's played, right? Is to reduce its, or increase, right? But for the Pyramid Warden in particular, it will reduce the health to 2 because the attack is 2. But let's say it's a 3/1, right? Let's say it's a Magic Carpet, and I play my Minosian Infiltrator, it's going to increase its health to its attack. So Roar effects can have downsides, but for the most part, they're usually up only. Yeah. So next we have Sleep. Sleep is like order or counterplay. Sleep essentially puts your enemy's creatures, or just put your enemy creatures to sleep for a turn. There are cards that put everybody to sleep, like the Demogorgon. If you play Demogorgon, its Roar is put each other creature to sleep. And so if you don't swing with your creatures before you play a Demogorgon, they all fall to sleep. Sucks. That being said, sleep is blocked by ward. So if you have a warded creature and I try to sleep him, it will not sleep. They will lose ward. And there are a handful of cards that play around ward. Bulka's Discovery wakes creatures up. That's war specific.
Radiant Dawn is light specific, wakes your creatures up. Svar Basilisk is a neutral card from the core set that will wake one sleeping creature up. Ironclad Minotaur will wake up the entire board. It is a neutral card from Trial of the Gods. Healy the Illuminator is a legendary from Trial of the Gods also. Wake up all your creatures, give them ward. That counterplay. It is really annoying when you play against a sleep deck and you don't have sleep hate, right? You can't wake your things up. It can feel really oppressive, but you can always tech for it. So next we have Spell Boost. Spell Boost will increase the damage your spell does by X amount of Spell Boost. So for instance, Academy Apprentice, +1 Spell Boost. But it also has Echo, right? So if I play my Academy Apprentice, I get my 1/1 Echo that also has Spell Boost and play it. For 3 mana, I can get +2 Spell Boost. So if I have a spell that does 2 damage, it will now do 4. Spell Boost is very strong, and it can get out of hand very quickly. If your opponent's running 5 1-mana 2 damage spells, they can get 2 Academy Apprentices down. Like, that is just a lot of damage, a lot of cheap damage. So spell boost targets are high priority. Yes, you don't want your opponent having that. Okay, the next keyword we have is Soulless. In Soulless, essentially obliterates the card once it dies. So if it's a spell that says play this as Soulless, it will not go to your void. If there's a card that gives creatures Soulless, when they die, they're obliterated. Their afterlives do not trigger, and they do not go to the void. That is Soulless. Next we have Tempt Fate. Tempt Fate is similar to Blessed. It is an RNG effect. When you play a creature that has Tempt Fate, it summons this creature has a randomly generated effect. I believe there are 5 or 6, so your creature can be guaranteed to be hidden, guaranteed to have ward, guaranteed to summon an Impling, things that are just beneficial, right? It's just an upside. Or you can flip a coin, it's a 50-50, and you get 2 effects, right? So you can get hidden and Twin Strike, or you can just get summon a 1/1 Impling, right? So sometimes it's worth taking the gamble, and sometimes it's not. It's an interesting keyword. It's not my favorite. Right, yeah. So Twin Strike is very good. A Twin Strike creature is a creature that can attack twice. You can only hit the enemy god's face once, the Twin Strike per turn. So, right, for instance, Wolf Cult Vanguard, if I empower it, it comes down as a 3-mana, 4-mana 3/3. I can only hit the enemy god's face once per turn, but I can favorably trade, right? I can go face and then make trade, or trade. Yeah, it's a creature that can attack twice per turn. It can only hit the enemy god's face once. Last but not least, we have Ward. Very good. It will block all non-attack damage, non-direct attack damage. So that's going to be spell damage, ability damage, right? If your creature or relic has an ability, it will block that damage. It will block transform, destroy, obliterate. It is one of the best keywords in the game. It can be hard to play around. Anyway, those are the keywords. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Bye, friend.